Christmas is a season full of love and joy, but it's also the season of arguments and contention when you factor in those discussions about spending at Christmas time.
Yeah, those discussions are not always joyful, right?
No.
Dr. Matt Townsend, Studio 5 relationship coach, Dr. Matt Townsend is here to help us learn to compromise on that topic of spending. So finances, I mean, it's always in the top 5, right, of things that couples argue about. Top 2, so we'll even narrow it down from there. But what about Christmas? Obviously, we're spending more this time of year.
Christmas, nightmare. Those two words don't go together, do they? But they do when it comes to the finances. And it's usually simply, I truly believe, because we don't talk. So we've learned to fight about finances, so when it comes to Christmas, we don't talk about it. So in our family, we don't even have a Christmas fight. Ours is like more of a St. Patty's Day fight over the Christmas bills. But it would be better to talk about that earlier.
Okay, and to help us avoid those arguments, Matt is inviting a few guests. Here's our very first one. You ready for this?
Yes.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
I love it. Firehead. He is the ghost of Christmas past. So one of the discussions we have to have is the conversation of the past.
What happened last year? What happened the year before?
Do you like sit down and just ask each other, what were the biggest things that we loved last year at Christmas? And go through those discussions and see if money even comes up or their presents even come up. What were the best memories from 10 years ago when we first had our little kids there? What were the memories of your childhood? Because how you spend today on Christmas is probably based on what happened to you as a kid.
And that carries over, and it's a tradition you don't always, because traditions, right, you have to uphold those. You want to carry those
Totally.
through.
And what we're trying to do is, I guess if I'm trying to get you to quit being what you are, I have to understand you. If I'm trying to get you to quit spending or to spend more with me, we have to get into each other's story. And the best way to do that would be to go back to the past and try to figure out what really motivated you back then. Why is spending such an important thing right now? And what do you really attach your meaning to? Because really, if you really thought about it, most of the time it's not going to be down to what you got, what gifts you received, what gifts you gave. It's usually other things like having time together. So if we can get really clear on that together, and it's not me trying to prove it to you, it's let's just talk about what has really mattered in the past.
I don't want to be too materialistic, but I think about Christmas's past. I do remember some presents I got.
Which ones?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's important to know, because is it the little ones? Is it the big ones? Should we be spending one big gift? Like, one of the best memories I have is taking our kids to Disneyland. That was one of the greatest gifts we ever gave. So if we're going to spend money, let's know what's the best way to spend it.
So it's not just what you're spending money on, or it is.
And it could be spending money. It's just on the right thing, or a trip, or a big gift, or a lot of little gifts.
Okay, once you're done with Christmas past, that conversation, let's get to our second.
Let's find another ghost.
I'm the ghost of Christmas present.
I had a funny feeling.
Now, what an obnoxious little ghost. What's so funny about Christmas present is we need to have a conversation about presently, where are we? If we are used to having money and now all of a sudden the economy's hitting us and we don't have as much money, we probably need to have a conversation about where we are presently. Do you remember Scrooge had to go back and see into the state of where the Cratchit family were? What was happening to them? What were they eating? What was their Christmas looking like? And by seeing where we are presently, or where other people are presently, it impacts how we can make decisions today. So this is where we start to find out financially, where are we? What's our current income? What are we going to owe over the next few months? What do taxes look like? Have we saved for our taxes? Have we saved for our charitable donations that are going to be due by the end of the year or whatever? Are all of these things taken care of?
Okay, now you're thinking like a man. You're thinking from the left side of your brain. I think for women, a lot of time, the emotion takes over of, oh my gosh, I want to get that baby doll, or oh my gosh, my 13-year-old deserves that Nintendo. How do we conquer the emotions behind the purchases?
One of the best ways to conquer the emotion is with data. Because if you start to say, great, we have this much money.
Like a man again here.
Because the irony of it is if you have more information, for example, presently, what do the kids actually need? Presently, we have 4 different electronic devices that they say they're using. 3 are broken, 2 are half broken. The games won't match. So really, presently, if we're going to go buy that new doll or that new thing, this is really what it's going to cost us. And this is actually what we have financially.
So you do have to look at it from the left side of your brain.
Well, and part of it is we think it's either either or, but the reality is data, information can make you create feelings. If all of a sudden you had $1 million in your bank and you knew that, you'd feel differently than if you had negative $300,000 in your bank. That would create a feeling. So notice, data does create feeling. So the more information we have before we go making these decisions, probably the better we'll feel, or we'll be able to feel differently about our decisions.
Can we get one more guest here? Let's
There's
see.
one more ghost from somewhere.
Wonder where he might be.
Future.
Oh boy.
Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have seen. You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not been.
Shadows of the things that have not been. That wasn't Bill Murray or Jim Carrey. So the Ghost of Christmas Future would be, what do we want to look like in March? What ghosts do we see coming if we make the spending decisions we make today? Or so what I just start saying, what do we want March to feel like in our family? Where do we want to be as a family in 5 years? What do we want our kids saying in 5 years about today's Christmas or this month's Christmas? So we start projecting our life forward. How do we want to be remembered as parents or grandparents? And it might be that if we realize from our earlier discussion that we don't even talk about our gifts anymore, then maybe we talk about our time and our trips together, then maybe let's make a future projection. I want to be a parent or a grandparent that people remember. Then I need to do something this Christmas that is memorable. And it might be serving a homeless shelter. It might be anything like that. It might be getting out and just having a time together. It might be paying for a big dinner to get everyone together instead of just giving a bunch of presents. Memories, memories, memories. But in order to do that, we have to be thinking ahead of time. How do you want to be remembered when you're 5 years down the road, 10 at your deathbed?
Okay, we've had 3 ghosts, but there's one more message.
Yes, this is my favorite message from Kermit. Oh, boy.
Cheers.
God bless us, everyone.
Tiny Tim.
Love him.
So Tiny Tim had this little spirit of change. And if you notice in that movie, everybody changed. Scrooge changed. Even Tiny Tim could still love the guy that was oppressing his family, and the Cratchits could. So we have a Tiny Tim question that everyone should ask. After these conversations, we ask one simple question. The question is simply, what's the most important thing I can do, based on our conversations financially, to have the greatest positive impact on our family this Christmas? And both of us should make that decision. My wife should make it, I should make it, and then we live that. So if I'm a spender, I should maybe, my spirit or conscience will back me down, and if my wife's a spender or a saver, maybe hers will pump hers up. So the spirit is, what's the most important thing I can do financially to positively impact my family this Christmas?
Love it.
Boom! Then you're a little Tiny Tim or a frog.
You're able to save some money with some of the deals you got going on.
We have got a Christmas special. I don't know, I did that.
You're channeling your inner Kermit?
I'm channeling my inner Kermit.
I don't know.
So we have 30 to 40% off on all of my products, date night. So if you've ever wanted to go to a date night, now's the time to give it as a gift. That way it's a gift. They can't get out of it.
They can't return it.
And they can't return it. 30 to 40% off. Just go to matttownsend.com or check us out on Facebook.
Awesome savings.
Thanks.